not, the question on adoption of the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The resolution is agreed to. Concludes the business meeting. We'll go now resume our hearing and back to Senator Hawley. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, there we go. Just waiting for my time to be reset. All right, Mr. Kumar, back to you. We were talking about transformers, and I was about to ask you if you know what percentage of the U.S. electric grid contains components that are manufactured in China.
You're getting that, David.
Senator Hawley, thank you for the question, and appreciate your recognition that we really need to be focused on the China threat when it comes to the grid equipment, both hardware and software that is deployed across the United States. Where we have been really focused on is 4 different areas here. One is we need to understand what are those critical components that, if disrupted, could have a debilitating impact on the United States. The second area where we're focused on is establishing provenance. So really understanding what's in this equipment, what's in the subcomponent level, and what pieces are potentially from an adversarial nation like a China. The second area third area where we're focused is testing. So we're testing some of this equipment down to the chip level and down to the software level in partnership with the DOE National Laboratories. And then finally, we're getting education and awareness out to the sector. That's where our focus of our effort is right now, and we're doing some of that analysis currently, and we're happy to brief you on some of that work.
So does that mean you don't know? You don't know what percentage of the grid contains components manufactured in China?
So, sir, there's a number of components that are built. The hard part about some of these questions is, at the top level, it could be, it looks like an American manufacturer or a friendly country.
That's why I'm asking you.
The reality is, when you go down to the subcomponent level, is where it gets a lot harder. So our focus is really looking at all of that equipment, and we're now doing that analysis right now to see what pieces of equipment have some of these concerning areas. Now,
Okay, wait. So I'm sorry, my time is limited here, but I just want. So you don't. It sounds like you don't know. When do you think you might know? You say you're doing the analysis. When will it be done, and when will we find out?
Sir, we are doing a broad analysis on what are the critical components in the sector, and what do we need to be prioritizing when it comes to some of our testing. And we're taking a risk-based approach. The reality is...
But when will you know? When will you know what you... so, I didn't think this would be very hard. I asked you what percentage of the grid contains components manufactured in China. You don't know, but you say you're looking at it. I just want to know when you're going to be done. When are we going to know?
So, sir, it's a complex question. As you know, the grid is it has thousands of hardware and
date.
software.
I'm looking for a date. You're exhausting my patience now. When are you going to be done with the analysis?
Sure, I think the one thing we have to remember is when you have an analysis like this, China may not just choose to exploit equipment they're developing. They may choose to exploit equipment that is developed by someone else if it has a vulnerability.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on the Senate floor. This is like a filibuster. Okay, I'll give this to you for the record. Let me try something else. What percentage of large power transformers are manufactured in China? Do you know that?
So currently, that number is not as high. We're doing it.
Well, wait a minute. You just told me a second ago you don't have any idea what the number is. So when you say it's not as high, what are we even talking about here?
So the United States is not purchasing as many large power transformers as it was back in the day.
Back in the day? What does that even mean?
So what I find is a lot of the utilities themselves recognize the China risk, and they themselves are not purchasing these large power transformers.
Well, what percentage are manufactured in China of our large power transformers? Do you know? It's fine if you don't know. I'm just trying to get answers here. You just say, I don't know, and then I'm going to ask you when you're going to know.
I'm happy to get back with you on that answer, sir.
Okay. Okay, I find this really quite baffling. This leads me to ask why it is that this administration suspended the last administration's executive order that restricted the procurement of foreign electric equipment. That was Executive Order 13920. Why did they? I mean, why allow procurement of foreign electric equipment that can be so dangerous to the grid? Do you know why this happened?
So, sir, right now what the focus is, we have to take a holistic view of supply chain security.
The U.S. Senate recently held a heated hearing about one of the nation's most critical vulnerabilities, America's electric grid. The central question, how dependent is the United States on China for the components that power our electricity? What followed was a tense exchange, raising serious concerns about national security, transparency, and the safety of our infrastructure. The hearing began with Senator Josh Hawley pressing government officials for a clear answer. His question was simple. What percentage of America's electric grid contains components manufactured in China? But instead of a direct number, officials provided explanations about the complexity of the grid, the layers of subcomponents, and the ongoing analysis. This back and forth quickly grew tense, with Senator Hawley demanding specifics and growing visibly frustrated with what he described as evasive answers. The senator's frustration reflects a broader fear: China's potential influence over America's power grid. If critical components, hardware or software, are sourced from adversarial nations, they could pose cybersecurity risks, vulnerabilities to sabotage, or even opportunities for economic leverage. Officials testified that efforts are underway to analyze subcomponents, test equipment at the chip and software levels, and map out risks. But the lack of immediate answers highlighted how little clarity there currently is about the scale of the problem. At the heart of the debate are large power transformers, massive machines essential to transmitting electricity across the country. Senator Hawley asked again, "What percentage of these are manufactured in China?" The response: utilities have reduced reliance on Chinese-made transformers, but no concrete figure was provided. Instead, officials stressed that the U.S. grid
We have to take a holistic view of supply chain security. Just having an approved and unapproved list is not the only way to secure our supply chains.
Well, that may be true. I'm just wondering that why would we allow China, a country that's suspected of numerous cyber attacks against us, supply major components for our electrical grid? I mean, is that a smart thing to do?
So again, what we're taking is a more strategic approach to this, to look at all of those different pieces I just mentioned, to ensure we look at security from all different aspects, including security by design, is a key component of how we need to tackle this problem. It's too large of a problem to start to have one solution, which was the solution in that executive order. Now, that executive order is under review. I defer to the White House in terms of a replacement executive order, but know that this is an area that's a priority for us at the department to ensure that supply chain is secure, and we're doing that very actively.
Well, all right, my time's expired, and there's lots of my colleagues who want to ask questions. I'm going to give these questions to you again for the record. I'd like to know what percentage of the grid contains components manufactured in China. And if you don't know, that's fine. I'd like to know when you're going to have your analysis done. I'd like to know what percentage of large power transformers are manufactured in China. And I just humbly submit to you that allowing China, getting procurement of electric equipment made in China and allowing it to be integrated into our grid is a bad idea. And I'm baffled as to why this administration is allowing it to go forward. I'll probably have some more questions for you for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. And Mr. Kumar, I think it's fair to say that we would all like to see what our dependency is on China's supply chain, because we're trying to break that immediately, if not quicker. Thank you. With that, we have now Senator Hickenlooper.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Ranking Member. Thank all of you for taking the time and being with us. Let me start with Mr. Lee. And I was intrigued by your suggestion of how we could help infrastructure asset owners and operators. You suggested that the U.S.
officials have the hard data, and most importantly, can the U.S. truly secure its power infrastructure before vulnerabilities are exploited? As the debate continues, one thing is certain: America's energy security is now at the center of a geopolitical struggle, and the decisions made in Washington could shape the resilience of the grid for decades to come. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscriber button for more political showdown.